Alright fellas, I am obviously keen for this one. We have got UFC Fight Night Jack Della Maddalena versus Carlos Prates taking place in Australia, in Perth, in the RAC Arena. I am going to be predicting and breaking down every single fight on this card, and I'm also going to be giving out my fight card awards that are on the screen right now, and I am lucky enough, fortunate enough to be going to this event. I am so keen to see all of these fights on this card. Honestly, for a fight night in Australia, the UFC is fucking cooked. So I'm extremely excited for this. Keen to predict and break down all of these fights. And we have to start off with Schultz versus Ben Johnston. Now, Ben Johnston, I have a lot of insider information on because I have friends that do train with Ben Johnston. And he is a good fighter. He is definitely a good fighter. And Schultz on the other side, yes, he might be a little bit more experienced. He has had UFC experience himself. But he hasn't looked the best overall. I mean, against Damian Pinas in his last fight, he got lit the fuck up badly. And granted, that guy is an absolute machine. But Schultz, the problem with him is he's like stiff as a board, man. Like the guy has just got really just stiff movement. Like he's not someone that is very agile in the cage. Like he's someone that really only has like a semi-decent wrestling base. He does have submissions to him, but aside from that, the guy's just stiff. Like I'm not a big fan of his style, and he was just really slow in that Pinas fight, Damian Pinas fight. It's really hard to say that name, but he just isn't looking that fantastic. Like, he fought Mansour Abdul Malik to a decent extent before he got finished, but that was just really him trying to combat with the wrestling. And in this fight, Ben Johnston, from what I've seen of him through the regional scene, through Eternal MMA, from what my friends have said about him as well, the guy is well-rounded. He is a well-rounded guy. He's a tall guy for middleweight. He is on a good win streak at the moment too. He's only lost one fight in his career. It was a pretty bad knockout, but from that, he's just gone on like I think it was a 4-fight finish streak now. He is looking really good. Pretty much just well-rounded in general overall. He's offensively very sound. He's got good striking. He's got a Muay Thai base. He's got good leg kicks. He's got good straight shots. He really utilizes his reach well, which he does have a disadvantage here, but he's just a better striker than Schultz anyway. He utilizes his reach better, even though Schultz has a longer reach. He is better with his striking. He's got those good leg kicks, decent clinch-based tools as well. He's got good knees. He's got good elbows against the cage when he smells blood. And also on the ground is probably his best work. Transitionally, really good on the ground. He's a BJJ black belt. Very, very good with his rear naked chokes. And he's on a 100% finish rate. He is kill or be killed. Now, the only thing that does go against him here is that aside from the experience of Schultz in the UFC already, Ben Johnston hasn't fought in 2 years. And that is mainly down to, from what my friends have said, he's just more focused on his personal life. He's got married. He's preparing to have a kid as well. And he is just more focused on coaching, on the coaching side of things. But he got the call up and he's just like, holy shit. Okay, yes, I'm just going to fight. Like, I want to do it. This is like a once in a lifetime opportunity. And he is good enough to be in the UFC, I strongly do believe. At least at this level. I mean, he is 35 years old at the moment, but he's got the tools. And especially against someone like Schultz, who really only eclipses him in pure wrestling, I think Ben Johnston as the favorite does make sense here. Like, you know, aside from him having the 2 years off and coming off a shoulder surgery, you know, I think it is deserved. He was a former Eternal middleweight champion. He relinquished the belt. He never actually lost it. And I think coming into this matchup in terms of a style, cleaner, faster striking. He's got good takedown defense as well, stronger actual submission offensive game too. He's submitted better opposition overall than I think Schultz has in his regional scene-based career. And I just think Ben's going to have the bigger moments here. And I think he's going to have the bigger moments in terms of the striking. I think he's going to be able to stop the takedowns of Schultz for the most part. I think he might struggle early in the first round. I think is going to get a bit of control. He's going to really impose his will more so with the wrestling and the clinch-based game. But Ben's going to just have bigger moments because he's better in the clinch with his actual Muay Thai based style. He's a better striker at range anyway. He utilizes the reach better. And also just offensively, he is just better for getting bigger moments. And that's going to be the key here. He's going to get a decision win here, I do believe. I think with the trade-off of Wes Schultz really trying to utilize that wrestling, he doesn't want to get pieced the fuck up again like he did in his last fight. So I think he's going to be a bit more controlled, bit more reserved. He's going to try to take Ben Johnston down, try control him, try submit him. I don't think he's going to be able to submit him unless he hurts Ben Johnston badly. Don't see that happening. Don't think his striking's good enough. So Ben Johnston going to have the bigger moments through round 2 and round 3. Going to utilize better clinch-based work, better work at range. I think he's just going to be able to outstrike him. Potentially could finish him, but I just think Wes Schultz just changing the momentum of the fight and making Ben reset with his constant takedown attempts. I'm going to give Ben Johnston his first career win by a decision, but do not be surprised if there is a finish late here. Now, moving on to Vince Morales versus Colby Thicknesse. Now, this is going to be a pretty decent fight, very competitive fight, because even though Vince Morales across 2 stints is like 3-8 in the UFC or 3-7 or something, he is a guy that has a shit ton of experience. He is a lot more experienced than Colby Thicknesse overall. And even though in this new stint, he's gone like 0-3, he's lost to really, really good guys. And he's going to be hungry in this fight because he's probably going to get cut if he loses this fight. And coming through this second stint, he's lost to Taylor Lapulus, very, very good kickboxer, Elijah Smith, who's one of the best prospects at bantamweight, and Raul Rosas Jr., who's now ranked. So you really can't beat up Vince Morales too much because he's made all of those fights competitive. And in this one, he is going to make it competitive too. But I will say, Colby Thicknesse, he is more of a tricky puzzle to solve. And I think the biggest thing for Colby coming into this is the specific experience he's had in the UFC now. Because he's come off a win against Josias Musasa, who is a lot more dangerous than Vince Morales, and also Alexandre Topuria, who is just the same. He was able to survive Alexandre Topuria, used really, really good outside movement, and just picked his shots really well. But stylistically, I think this is just a better matchup for him than those 2 fights. So if he is doing pretty decently well against Topuria and also beating Josias Musasa, I think that he has a pretty good chance in this fight. And stylistically, these guys are well-rounded overall. But the thing with Colby Thicknesse is that usually it's more of a bad thing that he trades his power for his speed. He doesn't put a lot of snap on his shots. He doesn't really plant his feet and try and go for a finish. He likes just tagging the opposition up, trying to then shoot takedowns, just switch up the momentum, use a jab, circle out. He just likes that volume-based game and high movement-based game. And Vince Morales, he's someone that does struggle against speed. He's someone that struggles against speed, and he struggles against guys that are really good with outside movement on the back foot. Because Morales is pretty much always a guy that is on the front foot. But I really think Colby, in terms of this matchup, is someone that's going to be able to edge it over Morales. Stylistically, this is the most favored matchup in the UFC that Colby has had so far. I think the volume is going to get him across the line here, but I think it's going to be a very, very close fight because Vince Morales does have more snap on his shot. He has more impact, and he is someone, especially on the ground, if it gets there, transitionally can keep up with Colby as well. So it's going to be a chess game. I think it's going to be very back and forth, but I simply think Colby along the outside with his volume, I just think he's going to outpoint Vince Morales for a decision here. I think it's probably going to be like a 29-28. Could be any of those rounds in there. I think it's just going to be a matter of honestly control time and who wins those transitions and overall who just picks up more volume and is more active on the feet. And I got to give that to Colby Thicknesse here. Now, moving up the card, we got Themba Gorimbo versus Jonathan Micallef. Now, I've had the pleasure of actually being able to watch all of Micallef's UFC fights in person, and the guy has surprised me over and over. He's looked really, really good, especially, having that good striking battle with Kevin Jusay, just outworked him with the kickboxing extremely well. His timing with his kickboxing is fantastic. And then against Oban Elliott as well, was completely able to get through the boxing of Oban Elliott and then utilize his ground game extremely well and submit him. So Micallef is obviously someone that has tools in every facet of MMA, but Themba Gorimbo on the other side, as much as I really fucking don't like this guy and his attitude, He is an actual good UFC fighter. Like, he's someone that can also work in all facets of MMA as well, because he is someone that is more experienced than Micallef in the UFC, has fought good opposition as well, but he matches the reach of Jonathan Micallef too. He's got a low output, but he's got good strike accuracy. He's someone that likes to pick his shots well and then really tries to chain in his wrestling and then get it to the ground and try and submit his opponent. So he's someone that does work fairly similar to Micallef, but on the feet, yes, Themba is technically more accurate, but Jonathan Micallef is more punishing on the feet, and he uses more tools. He's much better with his kicks overall. Like, Gorimbo's got like a good front kick, like decent teep kick, but doesn't really have a lot of threat with it. Whereas Micallef, if he is hitting you, he is hurting you. Like, the amount of damage he did to Kevin Jousse's body was nasty. And he's someone that can really accumulate volume and really just picks up his game the more the fight goes as well. And honestly, even with the submission game, we've seen Themba Gorimbo, yes, he's like Michael Chiesa, like, it's the best part of his game, but also the defensive side of it is like the worst part of his game. So Micallef is someone that is very sneaky with submissions off his back, and if Themba really tries to push for an offensive ground game, which he most likely will, there's a chance that Micallef could snatch up a submission like a triangle or something. So it is very dangerous for Themba in this fight, but I think when it comes to the odds here, even though I don't like the dude, I think it is a little bit crazy that Gorimbo is plus 250 here. It's a little disrespectful, but I still think Jonathan Micallef is going to win this fight because he's got more impact on the feet. He is just more technical overall, throws better combinations. As long as he's not having a round one like he did against Oban Elliott, that Gorimbo can take advantage of him just overextending, catching him off balance, and then taking him down and controlling him and possibly submitting him. Because Jonathan Micallef, I will say he's looked great pretty much entirely in his UFC career, except for round one against Oban. He looked shit. Like, he did not look good at all. He got marked up pretty badly by Oban because he was just trying to swing for the finish, which, granted, he's got the power to do so, but you can't be doing that against a guy like Themba, who can take your back if you overextend and potentially submit you, or at least control you very well. I think that's the most dangerous thing that Micallef has to look out for here, is the control of Gorimbo. But I just think Jonathan Micallef overall, he's just got better offensive tools. He's more dangerous on the feet, more punishing, has more impact on his shots. I think as the fight goes on, he's going to do better of stuffing Gorimbo's shots. I think he's going to try for takedowns himself as well. I think it's going to be very similar to the Jeremiah Wells fight that Themba Gorimbo had. I think there's going to be a lot of back and forth when it comes to the takedowns, a lot of back and forth with the striking as well, but Micallef has got that reach that Jeremiah Wells doesn't have. So I think Micallef is going to be able to pick this up pretty well, and I think he's just going to be able to consistently pressure Gorimbo through round 2 and round 3 to take this by a 29-28 decision. And just with the momentum that he's got on his side at the moment, and especially being in Australia again, it's just going to be pushing his confidence even more. Whereas Themba Gorimbo, he hasn't looked the greatest so far. I mean, he's fought tough opposition, but he's been pretty inconsistent. So I do see Jonathan Micallef, aside from round 1 where I think Gorimbo gets more control, I think Micallef just picks it up when it comes to the volume overall and just really starts picking Themba apart. Potentially could get a round 3 finish, but I'm looking here at a decision win 29-28 overall. Now moving up to Cody Steele versus Dom Ma Fan. I am so keen for this fight in person because one really entertaining fighter and another entertaining fighter putting great performances on in Australia already, with Cody Steele at UFC 312 putting on a great performance against Rong Zhu. Just showed so much heart, shit tons of volume, just absolutely crazy pace. And then Dom Ma Fan at UFC 325, getting to see him win his contract against Songwook Kim, just looking insane. Had so much volume, like landed over 100 significant strikes in that fight, and just did not take his foot off the gas. Both of these guys fight at such a heavy pace, and putting them both together was just chef's kiss from the UFC. This is going to be nuts. And as nuts as it is, my first award, it's going to be getting fight of the night, fellas. This is going to be a great fight. Because if Cody Steele is a guy that pushes that heavily against Rong Zhu with that amount of power, against Dom Ma Fan, who's really improving with his technical striking and loves to come forward and use volume, we're probably going to get a fucking car crash here, fellas. And I am all for that. Because Cody Steele is a guy, firstly, that has a lot of power on his side. 4 KOs. Before he lost to Rongju, was on a 4-fight KO streak. So he's coming through real hot. And even though he lost to Rongju, he didn't lose any credibility at all. He's still super hyped up, and he's a guy, especially even on the wrestling front, is very, very good. But the most underrated part of his game, which one of my mates has trained with him and said, honestly, his jiu-jitsu is seriously good and seriously underrated. So definitely keep an eye out for that. But it just shows that he is well-rounded and is a very, very good talent coming up, and he's in his prime. And then we have Dom Marfan on the other side, who is looking incredible, has a lot of momentum, won his contract, is on a 5-fight win streak. He's got the longer reach here as well. So if he's able to manage the distance and keep it at his tempo, he could light Cody Steele up. So on the feet, it's a lot of volume from Dom Marfan compared to Cody Steele and his overall power. That's where it's going to really come into play to see who's just going to get the best of that. But when it comes to the ground game, Dom Marfan transitionally, very, very good. He's calm under pressure as well. I think Cody Steele is the better wrestler out of the two of them. When it comes to jiu-jitsu overall, Dom Marfan is a guy that is very good transitionally to get into positions where he can get like rear naked choke finishes, or he's the guy that pretty much just gets finished by rear naked chokes. He's similar to bloody Michael Chiesa in that fact as well, where he's been submitted twice by rear naked chokes by Quillan Salkilld. So you can't take too much away from him there on the regional scene. And coming through, he's just improved a lot. He is looking very, very good, very confident coming into another fight in Australia. But it's a hard one to pick. I really do have to say it is difficult, but I will say that I do understand why Cody Steele is the favorite here, but it's not going to be an easy fight for him because Dom Marfan has the reach advantage, is overall better at stringing combinations, I will say, better at actual kickboxing, whereas Cody Steele, I'd say, edges it as an actual boxer. But the big thing on the feet is Cody Steele just has, honestly, a considerable amount of more power to him. And that's where I think the impact of the shots against Dom Marfan is going to put Dom Marfan on the back foot. And that's where he doesn't want to be more so. But when it comes to the wrestling and the ground game, it's seriously very even. That's where it could be taken either way. But I just find that Cody Steele, the impact of his shots and the way that he can secure body shots with that timing against someone that is a bit taller and has a longer frame like Dom Marfan, I think that's going to be the key here, and the key to the point where I think Cody Steele is going to be able to get the finish. I think he's going to be able to get a TKO finish. I think he's just going to put in too much work to the body of Dom Marfan. The raw power is just the real contrast here. I mean, he put Rongju in some dangerous situations, who is faster on the feet than Dom Marfan, and then he goes and KOs 4 guys back to back to back. So he's someone that is difficult to challenge at that boxing range because he's got the tight boxing in general. He's got really nasty overhands, and he has underrated leg kicks well, which can chop down a base of Dom Marfan and really make him rethink about staying on the feet. But Dom Marfan being able to take Cody Steele down is going to be difficult without Cody Steele like overextending, because the only way Rongju was really able to get any ground game advantage over Cody Steele was from Cody Steele just over advancing on his takedown and then getting reversed. That was pretty much kind of the only way, and I don't know if Cody Steele's going to make that same mistake again, and that's just really nitpicking. But I just think the striking contrast in terms of overall power and impact is going to be there for Cody Steele. And Dom Marfan, the issue for him mainly in that contrast is he hasn't faced super technical strikers in his career, and he's done more work with the ground game, and he doesn't have the KO power. So I think Cody Steele in that light is just going to be able to impose his will, and I think that's where we're going to see a second round TKO. Couple smacks to the body with some clean lead hooks, drops him, and I think TKOs him. But it's going to be a really crazy fight. I think the first round is just going to be nuts, super high volume. It's just going to be fantastic for as long as it lasts. Keen for this one. Keep an eye out. Now moving up to Cam Rowston versus Robert Bryczek. Now Robert Bryczek, very heavy-handed striker, as you could probably bloody tell. He's got 12 KOs to his name. He's definitely the more dangerous on the front foot overall, especially with his boxing. But I think the problem for him is that he has come into the UFC a little bit too late. Like, he was looking fantastic at Octagon MMA on the regional scene. And granted, he did come off a win against Brad Tavares, where the pressure from him is just nuts. Like, he does have that pressure. He has a lot of KO power. If he catches you and you don't circle out effectively, he's going to take your chin home with him. So he's got that ridiculous pressure. He's got the ridiculous power. And before his loss to Ihor Peteria, he was on a 5-fight KO streak. And that's where you got to be careful. And Cam Rowston really does have to be, because he's someone, the issue with him is that he is so tall and he does naturally keep his chin kind of high. I mean, even Cody Brundage was able to land some decent shots on him. But the thing with Cam Rowston, I mean, aside from his loss against Torres Finney on Dana White's Contender Series, which was from a pure wrestler, which Robert Bryczek has no wrestling, the guy was on a 6-fight win streak now. Like, from that fight, he's looked incredible, and 5 of those are finishes, and 3 of them are in the UFC. 3-fight finish streak in the UFC. He's got mad momentum. His last fight was at UFC 325 against Brundage, looked fantastic there. And the thing is, as a kickboxer, he is more technical. Bryczek is that one-dimensional guy. He has insane boxing, like just in terms of actual power, and is a better pure boxer than Rowston. But Rowston is a better kickboxer, has more reach with his legs, so he can really just teep, poke, leg kick, just keep him at bay. But the big thing I like about Cam Rowston in this fight, and why he should be the favorite, is the ground game. He is a guy that has a very good submission-based game. He's someone that can really be dangerous if he's taking you back. Like, pretty much all of his submission finishes are by rear naked choke. He has one calf slicer in there as well. But as long as Cam Rowston is not staying in boxing range, he's pretty much going to win this fight. It's either Bryczek literally takes his head off, or Cam Rowston gets this to the ground and submits him, or is able to, like, Adesanya style along the outside, just take him apart with the leg kicks and everything. But I think Cam Rowston really wants to exercise a ground game here, and hopefully he does, because transitionally, he's going to run circles around Robert Bryczek. I think he's going to be able to do it probably through to the end of the first round. I think he's going to get in a bit of trouble from Bryczek. I think he's going to get tagged, and he's like, okay, that switched me on. I shouldn't be standing with this guy. Let me try take him down. Bryczek, his sprawling's kind of hit or miss through the regional scene. He's been okay, but I think Cam Rowston is a guy that can find those trips with his long legs. He's someone that has done it in the regional scene as well. And getting it to the ground, I think Bryczek is going to be someone that's really want to be like, I do not want to fucking be here. I want to get back up so I can knock this guy out. But then that's where I think the problem really, really stands out, where he's going to frame, he's going to try to get back up, and then Cam Rowston is going to sink in a rear naked choke. I think just as he's framing to try and get back up, Cam Rowston's going to sink it in, especially with his long frame taking the back. Bryczek's just not going to be able to get out of it, to be honest. So taking him by a end of round 1 submission after a bit of a hazy first half of the first round. But I think it's going to be the wake-up call for him to get the finish here. Moving up to Jacob Malkoun versus Gerald Meerschaert. Jacob Malkoun, pretty much one of the biggest favorites, if not the biggest, on this whole entire card. He is looking good in the UFC, and I think it is a little disrespect to GM3 ultimately. He is a veteran, but it's not really changing much for me here, to be honest. I mean, even though Jacob Malkoun, like, I've got to say, when it comes to the odds, like, it's a little, whoa, because he has been pretty hit or miss in his UFC career, but I'll say it's just mainly more so due to, like, injury and cancellations and shit. Like, otherwise, he's actually performed fairly well, because he's only lost to, like, Phil Hawes when he was actually good and somehow actually had a fucking chin. And also Brendan Allen, who's in the top 10. So he has looked decent at middleweight. I'm surprised he still is there, to be honest. I think he should be fighting at welterweight, but you're getting a fight like GM3 as a minus 800, you should be delivering. And I think from his last fight against Torres Finney, the way he looked coming back in, you could see he was hungry. You could see he wanted to be there. You could see he was really taking his time. He was really picking Torres Finney apart. And takedown defense was fantastic. Torres could not get Malkoun down. And Malkoun, honestly, with his striking and just his timing and tempo, especially with the jab, really, really nice. And I mean, he's had some good performances as well. I mean, he finished Andre Petroski, then obviously piecing up Torres Finney in February, so he's coming off with that momentum. You know, it's just good seeing him active. And when it comes to defense and offense overall, he is improving, and especially on the ground, he's someone that's hard to beat. He is someone that is hard to get around and just hard to completely dominate there. And he's someone that's completely hard to dominate there. So I think on the ground, it is fairly matched, to be honest. I mean, Gerald Meerschaert, obviously, when it comes to a submission-based game, if he gets Malkoun's back, Malkoun's probably in trouble. But that's a tall order, man, because GM3, like, he's a vet, but he's been around since the fucking dinosaurs were around, and being this old, I mean, yes, he can surprise us with a submission-based game if it's somehow there, but I just don't see it getting there. Malkoun's just not a good matchup for him regardless. So, like, he's not like an Edmund Shabazian or like a Dustin Stoltzfus, where GM3 was able to beat, which is fantastic, but just being one-dimensional on that side, like, that's just what Jacob Malkoun isn't. And that's where Jacob Malkoun, honestly, he's just a really good matchup in this. And with Gerald Meerschaert almost being 40 years old, on a 4-fight loss streak as well, he's just slipping behind the mark. And Malkoun, honestly, I just think he's going to be able to do a lot of a better job to get this one done, because especially in the Torres Finney fight, like, you could probably say, let's be honest, he's probably beating himself up that he wasn't able to finish Torres Finney. Like, he had it kind of on a silver platter moving into the third round and couldn't do it. So I think he's really going to be looking for it this time, and at those odds, he should be fucking finishing this fight, which I think he's going to. I mean, the defense on the ground against GM3, I think, will hold up if it somehow gets there, but I don't think it even will get there, to be honest. I think Malkoun is just going to be able to outwork him on the feet. GM3 is just going to hope shoot like crazy, but I think Malkoun's just going to accumulate. But I think Malkoun's just going to get an accumulation of damage through round 1. Then into round 2, I think he's honestly just going to pop a jab on GM3, sit him on his ass, and then just ground and pound TKO him in round 2 to get this job done. Now moving on to Junior Tafa versus Kevin Christian. Holy fuck balls. Okay. Firstly, you know, I'm not a UFC fighter. I can't really fucking talk, but cut whoever loses this fight. Seriously. Junior Tafa, he's just way too one-dimensional. He, like, seriously needs to be doing kickboxing or Muay Thai. Yes, I know when it comes to MMA, it's more so where the money is and everything. But he's 2-5 in the UFC. He's on a 2-fight loss streak. He lost to fucking Tuco Tokos. Bro, if you're losing to that guy, you shouldn't be in the UFC. And now he's facing a guy that has an 8-inch reach over him, which is dangerous. But luckily, Kevin Christian is fucking atrocious. This guy is arse. He's fought cans for his wins, and he lost to Billy Alicana a lot worse than Junior Tafa did, but his fundamentals defensively is the main key here. They don't fucking exist. And being upright at 6'7" with no defensive awareness whatsoever, it's either you somehow have to trip Junior Tafa over and get him to the ground and submit him, which if he gets him to the ground, he probably will submit Tafa. Or Junior Tafa lines up the swang and bang style overhand right on his fucking chin and slumps him badly, which is what I'm going for here. It's just going to be one or the other. Like, honestly, you're going to put in your bet slip. For myself, not betting advice, but I personally am going to go for Junior by KO or Kevin Christian by submission. Pretty simple there. One of them is going to happen, or it's going to be a boring as fuck fight where nothing happens. So with that, and Tafa getting the swang and bang overhand, and with Kevin Christian probably going to fold up like a fucking lawn chair, I'm going to give Junior Tafa my Finish of the Night award here. I mean, neither of them are super impressive at all, but on a technical front, on the feet overall, Junior Tafa is definitely better. He is just, I mean, he's out of NTG. He's someone that trains at a very heavily striking-based gym in Brisbane, so he's someone that does have the tools there overall if it stays on the feet. The only problem for him has really been the ground game, and here I just think Kevin Christian just sucks too much, so Junior Tafa is just going to decapitate him. Now moving on, Big Daddy Gaziev versus Brando Pericic. Big Daddy has had a pretty rough time recently. He got pieced up real badly by Rosenstruik in his first main event, then Granted, he had some success against Dontel Mays and Thomas Peterson. I mean, he looked very good against Thomas Peterson, to be fair. But then he had 3 back-to-back cancellations against Sergey Spivak, so the momentum and everything kind of went out the window. And then he fights Waldo Cortez Acosta and gets absolutely fucking annihilated at the end of last year. So ultimately, the guy's been quite hit or miss, and within that, and why I say all of those, is it's really been just able to expose his game. Like, understandably, he's more experienced than a guy like Brando Pericic, but Gaziev struggles heavily against pace and speed of more technical strikers, which is exactly what Brando is. Brando is super heavy-handed, he's explosive, has got good takedown defense as well. He loves to chop leg kicks, he's out of city kickboxing, and he's just better as a kickboxer overall, which will most likely just break the base of Shamil Gaziev when it comes to his... Because he's like a boxer, right? He's just a boxer. He's a heavy, lugging boxer. He's got power in his fucking hands, but that's kind of all that he's got, unless he can somehow just lay on his opponent and just somehow just suffocate him and submit him with his body fat. But realistically, the boxing is only prime weapon, and Perisic is too fast for him. He's going to be able to chop the legs down to bits, and stylistically, it is just a nightmare for Gaziev, I do think so. But Gaziev being, not like a astronomical underdog, he does have the technical boxing and the experience overall for sure, which could give Perisic trouble, especially if this fight goes late. If this fight goes late, Gaziev could really pick up the boxing and put Perisic in waters he's never seen before. So that's where, in terms of boxing exchanges, Perisic does need to be careful. That's why the odds are more closed. But everything else, Brando Perisic is just better. Like, he's going to be able to chop the legs down. I think he's going to be able to outstrike Gaziev pretty well through the first round. The speed is just going to be so much different. I don't think Brando Perisic is going to be taking his foot off the gas at all. He's going to absolutely try and destroy him. And I think he lands some clean combinations after breaking the base of Gaziev through the first half of the first round. Chops him down, lands some clean shots against the cage, makes him fold, and then he just gets the ground and pound TKO. Unfortunately for Big Daddy, I think, you're going out of the rankings here, unfortunately. But Brando Perisic, this dude is a legit contender. So, very keen to see this one. Moving on, we got Tim Elliott versus Steve Erceg, which is an extremely interesting fight. Makes a lot of sense ranking-wise. But honestly, aside from like Morales and Colby Thicknesse, this is arguably the hardest fight on this card to pick. And when you look down on the screen, fellas, look at the odds. Those are some crazy odds. I don't understand them. I think that is wild for Steve Erceg. And even though Erceg has got the age and the home field advantage on his side, which the home field advantage didn't exactly work well last time against Kai Kara France. But, Erceg is in his prime. He's got tools everywhere. But Tim Elliott is one of the most unorthodox fighters you can come up against. So Erceg is going to be hard for him to train for a guy like Tim Elliott and get training partners that can mimic him. And Tim Elliott is still showing some really good fucking performances at being almost 40 years old. I mean, he's a very well-rounded guy, has some seriously impressive fucking strike accuracy for how unorthodox he is, and also has good takedown accuracy as well. And in the last decade, Tim Elliott has literally only lost to ranked opposition. And he's coming off a 2-fight win streak over Suma Durji and Kai Asakura, who are fairly similar when it comes to striking styles of Steve Erceg, submitting them both. And the only times that we really see Tim Elliott struggle is against guys who can out-wrestle him and are more offensively sound with submissions, which is obviously his biggest weakness with 6 submission losses. And Steve Erceg on the other side, the guy in terms of momentum front, he's had it pretty damn rough over the last couple years, because aside from getting that absolutely disgusting KO over Matt Schnell, which pretty much everyone fucking gets at this point, but he's gone from almost beating Pantoja for the title to losing badly against Kai Kara France and getting outworked by Brandon Moreno. And even though he got the win last time against O'Day Osborne, and to be fair, is at 135 pounds, O'Day Osborne put him in some fucking trouble. And yes, granted, all of these performances do equal experience, but you're still not outmatching the experience of Tim Elliott. And I genuinely just see, when it comes to this matchup, really should be pick 'em odds. And I honestly think pretty much overall with this matchup, it is very even. I think we're going to see Erceg find really good moments with his traditional boxing style. He's going to land some good volume. But then Tim Elliott on the other side, I think he's going to find moments with his unorthodox striking and tag Steve Erceg too. I think it's going to be very even on the feet. And when it comes to the ground game, I think it's going to be very even as well. When it comes to actual takedown offense and everything, I think Tim Elliott actually has the advantage there. But I think when it comes to actual submission-based offense, that's where Steve Erceg is going to have more moments, and I think he's going to be damn hungry in this fight, man. He's going to try and use his submission offense as his best case scenario here. That should be his strategy. He should be trying to offensively get Tim Elliott down, which there is potential for him to do so. Like, Tim Elliott has been taken down before. Granted, he's got a good takedown offense, but his defense isn't absolutely bulletproof. And Steve Erceg still does have very good takedown entries himself. So ultimately, I think it is going to be razor close, and we honestly could see Tim Elliott outstrike Erceg. But I think the impact on Erceg's strikes, especially with the boxing combinations that are longer, and especially with the moments that he's going to get with submission-based positions on the ground, especially in his hometown, I think it's going to get him the nod, but I think it's going to be a split decision here, man. I think we're going to see more volume out of Tim Elliott. I think we're going to see a little more impact from Erceg, and I think we're going to see some bigger actual fight finishing moments from Erceg on the ground. I think if it's not going to be an Erceg decision, it's going to be a Tim Elliott decision, or it's going to be a Steve Erceg submission. That's pretty much how I see it going in its entirety, but those odds, I'm Australian, but that is fucking mental. They should not be that far apart. So Tim Elliott is fantastic underdog money here, but I am going to take Astro Boy here just. Now, moving on to our co-main event, we got Beneil Dariush versus Quillan Salkilld, which is a big step up in competition here for Quillan, of course. And as sad as it is, obviously, Beneil Dariush is basically the golden goose for fucking prospects to build their career from now. And especially that is so because Mateusz Gamrot has just beaten Esteban Ribovic, so he's, you know, really trying to solidify himself as not being the gatekeeper, whereas Beneil Dariush, he's a prime suspect. So Quillan Salkilld is obviously trying to use Beneil Dariush as a launching pad to really get in there, and the UFC want that to happen. And look, even though Beneil Dariush's chin is fucking gone, you can never underestimate this guy's ground game. And we cannot forget that the last time Beneil lost to an unranked guy was Alexander Hernandez almost 10 years ago. And if it comes to the ground game, I can definitely see Quillan Salkilld struggling, especially with the actual transitions on the ground. I think Beneil outworks him there. But aside from that, that's really it, guys. Like, Quillan, firstly, has got a wrestling base. I've got guys, like friends that have trained with him a fair bit, and they say his wrestling is fucking legit. His takedown offensive threat is really, really good. He's got a high accuracy of takedowns, high volume of just takedowns attempted as well, which I don't think he's obviously going to use in this fight because Beneil Dariush is obviously wanting to get a submission here. But when it comes to the feet, man, you can't argue for Beneil, honestly. Like, Beneil does have power in his hands, but Quillan is longer. He's a guy that is hungry. He's faster. He's got the length. He's got the power. He's got the speed. He's got the tools on the feet. They're just going to be too much for Beneil Dariush. And honestly, I think that's where Quillan Salkilld just makes a statement in round one. I'm going to have to give him my Performance of the Night award here. I think he's going to get a clean hook, similar to BSD style. I think he's just going to crunch Beneil Dariush in round one, floors him, and then just KOs him straight out of consciousness in round one. If it gets to the ground, Beneil Dariush has a huge chance here to get his momentum back, and taking out Quillan Salkilld is a huge feather in the cap at the moment because the UFC is putting a lot of stock into him as Australia's next up-and-coming talent. So getting that win is big, but even with Australian bias, which I'm not using here, Quillan is going to chin him badly. Now moving on to JDM versus Carlos Prates. Thank you, Lord Jesus, this is a fantastic fight. I fucking love this. And this, honestly, I was like to my mates, I'm like, oh, I don't know if I really want to justify, buying tickets. It's pretty exy. It's pretty expensive. And I, spent a decent amount on UFC 325. So I was like, oh, maybe hold my horses. Then they announced JDM and Prates as the main event. I'm like, okay, take my whole entire fucking bank account. Because this is just everyone's dream for a fight night, no matter where the hell it's taking place. So very fortunate it is in Australia, so I'll be traveling over and seeing this fight. Very, very keen, and even with the time frame as well. I mean, for Aussies and European fans, we're cheering. Obviously, sorry to the American guys that are watching this, but getting this on a Saturday night just makes it all the better. And having two of the best strikers in the UFC, not even just the weight class, matching up against each other, firstly makes it hard as fuck to actually predict, but there's so many good things about this fight, man. I mean, not even within the fight. We're getting two fucking sick walkout songs. We got TNT by AC/DC for JDM. And then, of course, we got Purple Lamborghini by Skrillex and Rick Ross for Carlos Prates, which is my favorite walkout. There's just so much about this, but, you know, enough glazing for the fight. Let's actually get into it. And honestly, this gave me a borderline brain hemorrhage trying to figure out who is going to win this fight. And I'm one of those guys I'm not necessarily a fan of like, oh, you know, I just want it to be a stand-up fight, you know, otherwise it's boring. Like, I do like wrestling and grappling-based exchanges, for sure. I like full MMA-based games, but let's be real here, fellas. This one most likely is not going to the ground, so I think we're going to get a full striking display. So the casuals are going to feed off this fucker. And JDM is probably the only one out of the two of them that is really going to try and utilize a takedown offensive game if he is severely threatened, because all Prates is going to do is try and hunt for that finish like he's done again and again and again, and he succeeded at again and again and again. But there's so many questions here, man. Like, is the Muay Thai going to get through the boxing defense of JDM? Like, it's really going to be tough to say because there's just so many variables. Like, JDM is a more well-rounded mixed martial artist, whereas Prates has more actual striking tools and has also got the 4-inch reach advantage here and has longer legs too for teeps. Whereas, like, JDM, granted, has got championship experience, has been a champion, and we know, especially against Belal Muhammad, can dog it out for 5 rounds if he has to, with consistently higher output overall than Carlos Prates. But Prates also has 5-round experience, granted has not been a champion, but he has the lower output, but statistically doesn't matter because the lower output is more so down to his power because he just finishes his fight before he can accumulate any volume anyway. So it's definitely difficult, but both of them have identical strike accuracies, which makes it harder because Prates is like a laser, but JDM just has that real crisp boxing. And I mean, we saw JDM fight similar guys of Carlos Prates' stature, like your Kevin Hollands, like your Randy Browns, and he looked fantastic against them. Well, he looked fantastic against Randy Brown. Kevin Holland, we'll get into that a bit more. But Jack Della Maddalena, he can also throw really good long combinations and better consistently than Carlos Prates, which Carlos Prates did struggle against Ian Gary when it came to those longer combinations. But ultimately, I think whoever can pay dividends into the body better will take the win out of these two here. Because it's either Prates is going to win this either early to mid in the fight by getting a knockout, or JDM mid to late potentially getting a TKO, or he gets a decision win here. But the tools that Prates has to actually work the body just are more vast. Like, he has the teep kicks, he's got the knees to the body in combination with his boxing. Like, he's got really nice straight shots to the body as well, while also being able to chop down JDM's base with his like leg kicks and everything at range, which JDM can't necessarily reach himself as well. So at range, it makes it a lot more difficult for JDM, and JDM has to close that distance. And he does have pretty decent strike defense, but he has to close it to work those combinations to effectively tag Carlos Prates to make it count. And he does string good combinations to the body well when he mixes those combinations. But he has to get that done, and it's so hard to do because, granted, if he can get through and tag up the body, Prates is going to wilt, and if you take Prates' power away, he doesn't necessarily have the output to just completely outwork JDM and gain that respect back. But Prates is too punishing with his power. Like, JDM needs a perfect night to make that happen. And even on top of that, for JDM to get inside, utilize his boxing, work the body, and land some clean combinations up in that boxing range, you have to be firstly careful of Carlos Prates' counter-striking with his hands, but you got to be careful of his actual Muay Thai techniques with his elbows. Like he went full fucking Beyblade on Jeff Neal. We saw what happened there. He's got power with every single piece of striking that he can use. He is so dangerous in every single position at all ranges, kickboxing, boxing, and clinch-based range. There's just no fucking room for error for JDM coming into this fight. Yes, he's in his hometown, like he's gonna have the confidence there. He's gonna be hungry as fuck coming off that really embarrassing loss to Islam Makhachev. But is it gonna be enough? Is it going to be enough here? And that's where all these questions, it's going to make for a great fight, but when it comes to the odds being basically completely split even at the time of this recording, it makes it so difficult. But Prates has the power at any point in the fight. We saw it against Ian Gary. Yes, Ian Gary was able to string good long combinations against Prates and really put Prates on the back foot, but Prates almost knocked him the fuck out in the 5th round. Like, Prates doesn't have cardio issues, neither does JDM, obviously, but JDM doesn't have the same frame as a guy like Ian Gary, where he can be out of range of Prates' strikes, whereas JDM, to really invest and get some good shots off, he's going to be in the pocket where Carlos Prates can strike back. And if his defense isn't on lock, JDM could be going to sleep. And the big problem for JDM is he doesn't have one-hit KO power. And with how tight it is between them, the reach, the power, and the ability to strike at all ranges is going to be the difference here. And that's where I'm taking Carlos Prates in round 3. I think that Prates is going to be able to do a good job of circling effectively on the back foot in round 1, just doing a good job of chopping the legs, putting the straights to the body, just using low output, high accuracy, just to cut down JDM's base through round 1 and round 2. And with the impact on his shots, it's going to be quick if he's finding the mark. And that's where I think he just exposes JDM in round 3. I think he's going to be able to take him out against the cage with a flurry and then just TKO him against it. I think the ref is going to have to throw him off, and that's going to put Prates in that title shot conversation. Because, yeah, it's very difficult, because if Prates doesn't get that game plan off, obviously JDM on the front foot, he is good at checking leg kicks. He's good at his own leg kicks as well. He's very good at cutting off the cage, just prowling and landing good combinations. But we've seen him against a guy like Kevin Holland. He struggled to make things work. Like, he went to a split decision win. Holland arguably could have won that fight, and he was struggling mostly when Kevin Holland was able to find his own range. And if Kevin Holland is making JDM struggle with that, Prates is going to make him fucking pay. And overall, when we look at the landscape of JDM's actual career, I don't think he's been majorly impressive. Obviously, he is a fantastic fighter, has a lot of heart, but he doesn't dominate any high-level competition. Like, he obviously lost to Holland, almost lost to Gilbert Burns, and had a war with Bilal, whereas Prates is coming off striker after striker after striker, including Leon Edwards, who is extremely technical, who he just fucking annihilated. So Prates, I just think, is too unforgiving, has the tools, has the power, against JDM, who has no room for error. JDM's going to have that perfect night, and I think through 25 minutes, for as long as it could potentially last, Prates is too punishing, man, and I'm going to be taking him by a TKO finish in round 3 here to put him right in that title shot contention. Now, with that being said, I really hope you enjoy UFC Perth, and I hope you enjoyed this predictions and breakdown video. Let me know what predictions you guys have down below, and if you are going to the event like myself, I really hope you enjoy it as well. Really keen for a more compact stadium compared to Sydney, where I've been before, so very keen for that. Gonna have a great weekend, and I hope you guys have a great weekend too. And if you haven't already, definitely just check out the video here on the screen, and please like, comment, subscribe. Goes a long way for the channel. Latest.